My article was How to Overcome Communication Barriers. It was by Sandra Bagel. The article is about how to overcome communication barriers, mostly set in your organization or workplace. The article places you in a mindset that you are a track athlete and you should think of overcoming the communication barriers just as like a track athlete would overcome their hurdles. It states to first think about what the culture is of your workplace. Will they listen to you and take you seriously? Do they listen but not enforce? It goes on to talk about whatever you need to communicate them should be stated as if it would affect the whole workforce. It also states that you should know who you are talking to and see how they respond with others first. It states that you need to communicate what you have to say clearly so they understand, and if you have to, repeat what you have to say. Also, in the workplace, you may need to use technology as a way of communication, and also may depend on your workplace. On page 18, ambiguity would relate to this article because when you want to overcome the communication barriers, you want the listener or listeners to understand what you are trying to say. If you have ambiguity, then the listeners may interpret what you are trying to say differently, so you need to make yourself clear and understandable. On page 18, receiving is an important role in this article. When trying to convey your message to get over that barrier, it would be important, like in this article, to see who you are going to speak with and how they receive messages before you try to communicate with them. Do they focus their attention on the speaker? Do they observe or recognize the speaker's verbal and nonverbal messages? And do they listen and not interrupt? On page 18, communication channel. Communication channel works well with this article. By which means are you going to communicate with someone in your workplace? Would it be easier to send an email or call? In your workplace, you know which way it would be easier to get your message across, whether it be in person, email, or a phone call. The most important thing I learned in this article is that you can take little steps to overcome communication barriers. I like the point where it stated that if you have to get a message across to a person, stand on the sidelines a little bit and observe how they communicate with other people. And when somebody else is communicating with that person, how do they receive that information? Do they listen to that person? Do they interrupt that person when they are trying to speak? Things like that. Thank you for watching.